I'm your daddy.
I can be smart when it's important.
I'm your daddy. I'm
Sorry to this
I'm your daddy.
Welcome to Daddy Dailies, a podcast hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films. On a film set, dailies are sent out after a shoot day so you can see the work in progress. Daddy Dailies are conversations that go behind the scenes so you can see what work went into the process and be better armed to succeed in the industry. Daddy Dailies, hosted by Not Your Daddy's Films. Hello, and welcome back to Daddy Dailies. I am Carly Tamarin.
And I'm Courtney Bell.
And we are two of the co-founders of Not Your Daddy's Films.
We are so excited to be chatting with Mary Bronstein today, the writer and director of If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which is in theaters right now. The film follows Linda, played by Rose Byrne. With her life crashing down around her, Linda attempts to navigate her child's mysterious illness, her absent husband, a missing person, and an incredibly hostile relationship with her therapist. We were lucky enough to attend special screenings of the film in LA, and we were blown away. Not only is Mary an incredible filmmaker, but she hails from White Plains, New York, has a master's in early childhood education and an education in psychology, as well as a graduate certificate in gender and women's studies. Her directorial debut, Yeast, premiered at South by Southwest in 2008. Mary, welcome to Daddy Dailies.
Thank you so much.
So we met you at the Beyond Fest screening.
I remember. I love it. I loved it when you guys came up to me at the party at Beyond Fest. That was so fun.
Yes. So
We were
fun.
so hyped. It's obviously for anyone, it's different just seeing women making such powerful movies. Like every single person who had already seen it, who I knew who was there, they were like, "You're not ready. You're just not ready for what you're about to see." It's like, what are we talking about? I was like, is it really scary? And they're like, "You're just not ready." And I left and I was like, that's what I'm saying to people now. I'm like, I get what you're talking about.
It's like whatever you think
You're
it
not
is,
ready.
it's not that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is so fun, like how it's so rare for us to be so surprised watching a movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like, well, we loved it.
You know what? I think that's what a lot of, especially when I say this, I sound like an old lady, but young people,
Yeah.
younger people are so excited about what this movie, and everybody I think is like, yeah, it's something new. Me as a viewer, when I want to see new things.
Yeah.
I've been watching movies my whole life, watching TV my whole life. I want to see something that's new. And I think it's a miscalculation of like big studios and big streamers that it's like that we just want to see, we want to be spoon-fed the same kind of thing over and over again.
Mhm.
It's like, no, people want something new. They want to be excited. They want to be inspired. They want to be, like you said, surprised. And as a viewer, I want that. And so as an artist, what I try to do is I only want to make things that I would want to see.
Yeah.
You know? So I really, when I was making this movie, I made it with that spirit in mind of like, I want to make something that isn't where you can't, where certainly everything I've ever seen and read and heard is inside my body, you know, on a cellular level.
Yeah.
But I want to make something where you can't say, oh, easily it's like this, or it's like that, or it's like, you know, or what, it's like this movie combined with that movie. Because I feel like that's very reductive. It's easier. And I think like what you were saying, Courtney, like that's the reaction that I want that's what I wanted, is for someone to be like, you don't know. I can't explain to you. You have to just go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I think like just this topic alone and motherhood and being a woman, like I mean, neither of us have kids yet, but it
Yeah.
is like the point where we're about to, you know? And
Yeah.
and just like that, having that reminder of that it's not going to be perfect and that's okay. It's not this like beautiful experience all the time. You know, motherhood is messy. Girlhood is messy.
Mhm.
And just like getting to show us in this way, I think is like, it's crazy that it could even be seen as so radical still. But like,
I'm saying that too. I keep saying it's like it's 2025, and it still is radical to tell a story from a female perspective about a woman. Um, like,
Period.
it seems even bananas to say that, but it's sort of like, I've spent, my whole life watching movies, like I said, and, there came a certain point when I realized, like, "Hey, wait a minute. Everything I've seen depicted of women or women's experiences, that now I'm getting to the age of, it's not like that. It doesn't feel like
Mm,
that. Like, falling in love didn't feel like that. Like, having a baby didn't feel
mhm.
like that. Getting married didn't feel like that. Having a nervous breakdown didn't even feel like that." And then
Right.
you realize the betrayal of the fact that, "Oh, those are all male fantasies of it. Those
Yep.
are all men fantasizing of what it would be like, or even trying to tell me, what I should be like."
Mhm.
Yes.
Uh, and so it's like, women and all people with underrepresented voices in film and art, like, we gotta tell our own stories. We gotta tell it's time, like you said, it's 2025. It's not 1955, but the disparity, is so large. Like, I was reading the other day, the Oscars are almost 100 years old,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and there's only been 7 women ever nominated for Best Director in
Mhm.
100 years, and,
Crazy.
2 have won.
Yeah.
And we're 51% of the population, women are, and we wanna see movies that reflect ourselves. Why aren't there 51% of movies, that do this?
Mhm.
I think we know the answer to that, that's a whole other topic, but I think for me, it's like, if I could inspire just one young woman to be like, Yeah, I get that. I wanna do that too." Like,
Yeah.
that, I will be happy because it's not easy. It's not easy. And you hear a lot of no's, and you hear a lot of, like, "Well, this character is unlikable," or things like that, whenever we're talking about a complicated female character. Um,
Mhm.
and you have to keep going. You have to keep going.
How did you pitch? Because what you were saying with it can be so reductive sometimes for a project to be like, it's a mix of this and this. I know
Yeah.
not only as a woman, but also as a woman of color, I'm
Yeah.
often left with like, I can't necessarily give you two examples of two films that blend this film because there's not that many like it's not there. So I want to know
Right,
like how
doesn't
did you go
exist.
in and did you just come up with titles to give people something? Or were you like, I don't have that. I can't give you 2
No, I
examples.
so with this film was a little different because I wrote the script on spec.
Okay.
I wrote the script, on my own, and nobody, was waiting for it or knew about it or whatever. So then I had I was in a position where I could say, "Here's the script," and then have a conversation about it. Um, but even then, people wanna know executives and such wanna know, well, what it what could we say this is like?
Right.
And then my answer would always be, "Well, you read the movie. We could talk about what it's like, but it's not like anything." And like you said, I it's harder, I mean, and for women of color, it's even, I wouldn't even say it's twice as hard. I would say it's 5,000 times as hard. Uh eh, to come up with an example. It was hard just for me to come up with an example, and my examples ended up being, films made by men because that's what there is. But, like, when you're creating something, new, that's the challenge, and that's what I kept telling myself. Instead of feeling beaten down by it, I kept telling myself to inspire my own self,
Mm.
"Okay, the reason why they're asking these questions, the reason why they're driving me crazy with this is because, it's new." And,
Mhm.
I heard a lot of no's, and I heard a lot of, I had a lot of people trying to change the movie and things like that until I ended up, finally with my partners at A24, which, they fully took the script and, we did no developing or notes, and I was able to make my movie.
Wow.
But
Hell
that was after years of hearing all these things that you're talking about. And I think that the more women that are writing,
yeah.
and the more women that don't take no for an answer, and the more women that don't bow to soft notes that are meant to soften
Mm.
and stuff, the better off we're gonna be. So that, like, maybe somebody in, my daughter's generation or even below her will be like, "That was hard for you guys? Like, what are you talking about?" Like, that would be my
Mhm.
fantasy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know in my lifetime if that's gonna happen, but that's my fantasy, and,
Yeah.
that it would be this is why we do it, is so that also, uh, for the next generation of filmmakers, it maybe is gonna be a little bit easier. A little bit easier. I don't think
Just
it's
a little
ever gonna
bit.
be easy, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I love that. Well, I would love to go back to we were talking about surprises, uh,
Yeah.
in filmmaking. So to get into I wish we had so much more time, oh my god. Um, so, for example, you don't see the daughter or,
Yes.
like, you pick and choose when to start revealing little things, like
Yes.
an appendage here and there. Was that something that you had in your mind, like, from the beginning, or is that something that developed, and how did you guys utilize the camera, especially with things being so close up,
Yeah, yeah.
deciding what lenses and stuff to use?
Yeah, so all of those ideas that you're talking about as far as the reveals, and the conceptual choices, those were all on a script level. Those are all things I knew, and I had the benefit of writing a script that I knew that I wanted to direct. So I
Mhm.
wrote the script in a very visual way. So if you were to read
Yes.
the
Mm.
script, and watch the movie, um, they're very tied together. I'm very proud of the fact that there's very little difference between the two. There's only like logistical differences. Like
Yeah.
Mm.
I had the main character like climbing a cliff at one point. Like I can't do that. I
Sure.
couldn't do that. So that's not in the movie. But other than that, it stayed very true to my ideas. The reveals, I don't want to do spoilers, but whatever. Um, one first things, and it just made me laugh so hard, was the idea that when she leaves her therapist's office towards the beginning of the movie, you think that she's leaving and she's going to leave the building and go on with her day. But instead, she goes into the office, and then you're like, wait, she's a therapist too? Um, and, it's reveals like that for the audience that were very important to me as a writer, because it's a way to communicate to the audience, like, I'm keeping you on your toes. I'm
Yeah.
keeping you on your toes. You're not going to get ahead of me. I'm ahead of you. When I watch a movie, my least favorite experience is if I'm ahead of the movie. I hate that,
Mm.
because then I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I got ahead of you. That means that you held my hand a little too tight, to the filmmaker. And so I always was trying to not let the viewer be ahead of me, by having those reveals and surprises. As far as the daughter goes, that was one of the first conceptual ideas I had. And my idea was like, okay, so we're totally in this woman's reality,
Mhm.
totally in her point of view in a very radical sense. You never get to like test her reality from the outside.
Right.
Um, and in her reality, uh, in a figurative way, she can't see her daughter. Like, see her
Mm.
daughter as a little human being that is lovable and that she could have any kind of joy from. She only sees her as something that, is like a burden, or that's happening to her, or that she's trapped by, that she wants to escape from. Of course, we find out later she doesn't wanna escape from the daughter, she wants to escape from the problem.
Mhm.
And so then I thought, I've never seen this happen in a movie before. What if I made the figurative not seeing literal?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was a big trust me moment, because I had a lot of people asking, "Well, how would it be and what it," and I'd be like, "Trust me, trust me, trust me."
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the back of my mind, I was like, "What if it does maybe it doesn't work? I don't know." But it was a big swing that I had to take. If I had said, "You know what? That might not work. I don't know." Uh, I would have lost that. I would have already lost. because I would have given up that idea that was an intuition for me. And so then we see the daughter at the end. It becomes almost like a reward for the audience, I feel.
Yeah.
But then
Mhm.
also we can only see her when the main character can see her.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm using a 35 millimeter camera, no zooms, no zoom
Mm.
lenses. So when
Uh-huh.
you see how close the camera is to Rose's face, it's
Yeah.
yes, it's
Yeah.
sometimes quite literally right here.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and that's Rose is a performer on a whole other level. Being able to do that on a technical level, acting wise, I don't
My
even
God.
understand that. That's something beyond my talents as a performer. But you can only use close ups. It's different than other aspects of performing, like theater or something like that. You can
Mhm.
only use a close up in cinema. It's
Yeah.
a tool
Mhm.
that differentiates cinema from, live performance, and I thought, "I'm gonna use this to further my idea of that this is just her reality." Sometimes I'm
Mhm.
gonna and also that she's, isolated
Yeah.
because she is literally isolated in the frame, um,
Mhm.
and one of my favorite things I do, and again, it's to communicate to the audience, "Hey, this is the movie that you're about to watch. Don't get comfortable. Don't get too
Mhm.
comfortable." Is that the film opens with a close-up, as we understand a close-up, and I have the camera on a dolly there, and it keeps dolly it's like you think that's a close-up, and then it dollies
Mm.
in and in and in until we're
Mhm.
right up in her eyeball, and it's me saying, "This is the language that I'm gonna use, and I'm
Mhm.
also this woman's in pain, and I'm gonna make you look at it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make you look at it. There's nowhere else to look." And what makes society more uncomfortable? It's a woman who's upset or in pain because
Ooh.
nobody knows
Mhm.
what to do about it.
Ooh, it gives me goosebumps.
Uh,
So powerful. Yeah.
and that was an idea, and my cinematographer, Christopher Messina, understood my vision so thoroughly, and unlike I don't wanna throw cinematographers on the bus, but, unlike a lot of cinematographers, had no ego, had no
Mhm.
machismo, was totally gave himself over to my vision and understood it. I worked with him on the visual language of the film for, like, a year before
Wow.
leading up, and,
Wow.
he was right there with me, and so every shot idea that I had, he figured out a way to do it, and so, as Rose says, she got to know the camera department very intimately 'cause right up in her face.
It's so cool to utilize the camera to make your audience feel uncomfortable when she's
Mhm.
uncomfortable. You know,
Yes.
like it really is such a literal manifestation of
Thank you.
look at this, you're going to be uncomfortable. Get over it.
And also
Yep.
it's also the idea of, like, in our culture, uncomfortable is categorized as a very bad feeling, but
Mhm.
Yes.
my thing is sort of like, "What's so why are you so scared to be uncomfortable?"
Why?
Right.
Yeah.
We're uncomfortable, that leads to me, curiosity and a place to understand and a place to empathize and a place to
Mhm.
learn. When you're uncomfortable, I think it's your body giving you a signal saying, like, there's something about this that I don't understand." Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and sometimes that can be a signal to say, like, if you're uncomfortable in a dangerous let me get the hell out of here. But if you're watching a movie, that's not the stakes. Um,
Mm-mm.
and a lot of people can't tolerate, being made to feel uncomfortable watching films, and I'm kind of interrogating that and playing with that and being like, "Well, what is it
Right.
that's making you uncomfortable?" And it's for you
Yeah.
to look in yourself as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Well, there are
Let's check that
multiple
out.
scenes where I, like, felt the feeling of feeling uncomfortable
Yeah.
because I was seeing, like, a reflection of what I might look like on the outside when
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
having an emotional break.
Mhm.
Specifically, the scene I don't wanna spoil it, so I'm gonna try to communicate to you, in small
I
detail.
don't know what you're
But,
talking
when Rose was in her not therapy session and she
Yes.
reveals something deeply personal that she had
I
went
know.
through
I know
earlier.
exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking about. Yes.
that just I just, like, her being so calm, sharing this
Mm.
experience to just like, she just says it and then breaks down. I think so often in filmmaking, specifically in narratives that are written or directed by men, there's this outpouring of like tears welling in the eyes. It's even written in the description. And sometimes you just say something that's really, you feel awful about, and then you hear yourself out loud and you break. And I
Yes.
just think like that was so honest and true
Oh,
to a
thank
feeling
you.
that women experience. But I'm like, what was that like for you guys? The conversations that you had that led to directing a performance
Mhm.
like that. I mean, I was
We
blown away.
Oh, thank you so much. And also that scene, by the way, is a scene that very few people ask me about because I think it's very uncomfortable and it's a taboo.
Mhm.
And it's even a taboo among women,
Mm.
um, because it's sort of we're not supposed to be affected in that way by that experience. And of course women are.
Of
It's
course.
everybody's different, but for this woman, she's sort of trained herself by the way that you're supposed to respond, which is I can tell this story calmly and it's something that happened and it happens. But that's not true to her, which is why she breaks. And then of course her
Mm.
therapist cannot handle it.
Mhm.
Um and the conversations that Rose and I had ended up being we had a very, very wonderful, intimate rehearsal process that before the production office even opened, it was just the 2 of us.
Cool.
It was like stolen time almost, because it was just the 2 of us, and it was Rose availing herself to me with her time because she wanted this performance to be what it ended up being.
Mhm.
And it was the 2 of us at my kitchen table for, like, 5 or 6 weeks, 3 times a week. We would drop our kids
Mm.
off at school and then meet at my apartment, and we would go through the script, and then we would stop and have very deep personal, conversations regarding the material and then go back into the script and then stop again. Conversations about our own, selves as mothers, about our mothers, about being daughters,
Yeah.
about childhoods, about things
Mm.
that very private and personal things, and all those things, li as Rose says, you don't ever wanna see, like, an actor's homework on screen, you know?
Mhm.
But
Mm.
all of that work, those becoming close like that, and now we're very close friends. Um, I don't know how this movie could have been achieved or that performance could have been achieved without that, without
Mhm.
trusting each other on that level because like Courtney, the example that you gave, I'm asking her to go places where you don't go.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
go even in real life, even with your friends.
Mhm.
Um, and so to have that, we had to have a mutual trust that was very deep. And I think it's allowed the performance to be as rich and deep. I mean, she's doing, what she's doing, I can't even quantify. Like, I explain it as she turned herself inside out,
Yeah.
um,
Mm.
part, really. And it's, in a lot of ways, since this story comes from me, writing it, um, we talked about her being my emotional avatar.
Yeah.
Um ways. So, like, a lot of times when I was watching, the scenes being performed, when, on set, it's very trippy for me,
Yeah.
because it's, like, my deepest, darkest, forbidden thoughts, and I'm
Mm.
seeing them being acted out and coming out of somebody's mouth as a wild, but as an artist, like, oh, magical and the most
Yeah.
satisfying, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's
But the
honestly, like, it's so brave. It's so
Thank
it inspired me,
yeah.
like, first of all, I left and I called my mom immediately, but I
Oh, a
also
lot of people
yeah,
have said that.
and
Yeah, it's
like,
beautiful.
hilariously, my parents are both therapists.
I'm obsessed.
And so, like, I mean,
Obsessed.
my mom is, like, so open, and not that we need to continue this podcast just talking about my mom, but I could.
No, please, it's
But, like,
therapy's a big theme in the movie.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, and, like, she's so open with us. My parents got divorced when I was 18, and I watched her go through this
As
breakdown
an
while
adult.
being a therapist, like, as a very conscious adult, and I mean, we talked about it so much, but seeing this, like, my heart just, like, I'll cry, like, poured out for her, and I think it's such a it's going to
Yeah.
be such a cathartic thing for people to see. Like, in the chaos
Yeah.
comes the catharsis.
Yeah, you have to go
Yeah.
through it to get to the other side. You have to go through
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
And
Yes.
I have that in the film as like the central trauma. There's a trauma that the character's running away from the whole time. And the thing about trauma that we all know is that it's to me it's scarier than like a guy in a movie, not in real life. This would a guy with a knife would be scarier in real life, but in a movie, somebody chasing you with a knife, that's scary. But the idea that there's this thing that's inside of you that
Yeah.
is a terror to you personally,
Mhm.
just to you, and it lives inside of you. And my whole thing with the movie is it's gonna get you. If you don't deal with it, it's gonna get you. The only way for her to get through to the end of the movie where there is a change in her is for her
Mhm.
to go through to go literally I have her visually go through it.
Right?
Um,
Yep.
the
Which
trauma.
which you're doing by making this. Like, it's just so
Yes.
it's so full circle, and it's like and we're doing by watching it.
It's
Like, it's just
I
it's
mean,
incredible.
I feel like as artists, that's what we do, right? Like we mine our own deepest, darkest parts of ourselves, and there's like it's almost like a compulsion to to show those to other people in
Yeah.
disguised in stories. And I think it's difficult. It's not exactly therapeutic to do, but there is a release at the end because I can say, like, with the movie, it's yours now to everybody.
Mhm.
It's external. I've externalized it,
Yeah.
and giving it away to the audience who I trust. Um, and so that's why the reactions are so satisfying to me.
Yeah.
Mhm. With
Gosh.
making this project and building a community of filmmakers, I don't know how much of an influence that did or did not have on the making of this project, but I have to imagine it did because I know you were writing it for a while. I remember you mentioning it, the feature. So can you
Oh,
talk to us about that? I know our audience, like, that's what we're always trying to emphasize. Like, build your community now, and
oh
your
yeah,
projects will grow as you grow.
absolutely, absolutely. You need to be surrounded by people who share the same brain as you in a certain way. You need to be surrounded by people that are able to get bought in to your vision as much as you are.
Mhm.
Because making a movie is hard. Making any kind of art is hard, but a movie is a group project. It's different than
Mhm.
painting a painting or writing a poem or something like that. It starts as a solo thing. You're by yourself at your computer writing it. But then it turns into a group project, and you have to be somebody that can work with a group, that can lead a group, but also be
Yeah.
part of a group so that each I think of it as like I surround myself with other artists who are as singular in their vision as I am so that I can trust them. I'm not a production designer. I'm not a lighting designer. I don't have to be. I don't have to be all those things. I'm not a focus puller. I'm not a camera operator. I don't have to be those things. But
Mhm.
I have to surround myself with people who are those things and who are the best at it and who understand what I'm trying to do. As a director, you are the leader, but I think that once that turns into a kind of ego, you've lost the game. You've lost the
Yeah.
game already
Yep.
because everybody needs to be as excited about your idea as you are. And I'm lucky enough that I'm married to a filmmaker. I'm surrounded by other filmmakers and people that are at the top of their game in their craft. And watching other people do their work too, that has nothing to do with my work, that is so inspiring.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
surrounding yourself with people that are doing their thing and not having a envy, which is so hard sometimes, or not having a "what about me"-ness
Mhm.
about it, which is very hard sometimes, especially as a woman or a underrepresented voice. That
Yeah.
can be very hard, but it's very important because the more it's around you, the more
Mhm.
the more it inspires and I think sometimes gives you a fire to do it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know it's possible.
Speaking of collaborators, this film is like, it's so visceral in every way. There's something for every sense, And I think the
Thanks.
way, especially that like the sound mixing,
Yes.
you can tell that is a
Oh,
genius human as well. At what point did those choices come into play? Because it is such a living, breathing element.
oh, yeah. So I always knew that I didn't want a traditional score. I knew that I wanted sound design to be the score,
Hmm.
and sound design to be a really big part of it. Because again, we're talking about perception, and so I wanted the sound to feel like the character's perception of how things sound versus how it might realistically sound, and then
Yeah.
have that be a basis for how we build out the soundscape of the whole movie.
Hmm.
Um, I worked with my genius sound designer, Philippe Messenger, and Rui Garcia. And they, I give them a, a title card where you don't usually give sound designers that. That's
Yeah.
usually where the composer would go. I give that to them
Yeah.
because that's how instrumental they were. They're geniuses. So all the soundscapes that you hear in the film were built from scratch and were made from layering and this element and that element and all kinds of things that were I would say that doing the sound mix was one of my most inspiring and favorite parts of making the film
So cool.
because the film is edited. Okay, so you have the film edited, but it doesn't have that extra, it doesn't have the sound is what made it complete.
Yeah.
Um, and we got so creative and experimental and like looking at like I'm a huge David Lynch fan and
Hmm.
just thinking about him
Oh
creating
my
sound
God.
for Eraserhead by like putting a microphone in a bathtub and swirling around a toy boat. Like that kind of stuff. That's the energy with which we created the sound
Wow.
design. And they were so up for it because you
Yeah.
could imagine that a lot of jobs that they're doing are very straightforward and not taking advantage of the artistry of a sound designer. They did
Yeah.
the Foley artistry for this film. One time, Philippe said I came in with this instrument. I was like, "What the heck is that?" He was like, "It's a hurdy-gurdy." I was like, okay, okay, I have hurdy-gurdy in my
Perfect.
movie. I'm done. I'm excited." And stuff like that, where it really felt like you're experimenting, and
Yeah.
it felt like a real we're again a group project. Um, and I'm so thrilled and satisfied when people recognize the sound because
Yes.
it's something
Yeah.
in a lot of movies that I think people don't notice. But
Hmm.
this, especially if you see this in a theater, which you guys did, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's parts where you can feel your chest bones rattling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it's immersive in that way. Like the sound gets inside your body. And my idea with that is so that you might feel like you're inside of the character's body at some
Yeah.
point.
And you
And you
do.
can't escape. Yeah. Like when you're in the theater.
She's
Yeah,
like,
okay.
right this second,
No, no
get the
problem.
fuck off
Thank
of
you
here.
so much, Mary. We could talk to you for hours.
Me
Yeah.
too.
We're so
I
grateful. We
love
want
talking to you
everyone to see this
guys.
movie.
And thank you forever for coming up to me at the party at Beyond Fest
Oh my
because
God.
that's
Mm.
why this happened. And
Yep.
I'd be happy to talk to you any other time too, if you
Yes.
have
Thank
me.
you.
Let's
You
set
are
it up.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you and congratulations. I
Thank
mean,
you
we
so much.
cannot wait for our community to see this. They're gonna absolutely die.
Yeah. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody.
Already doing it.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
bye
See ya.
guys.
Oh,
I love her. Boom,
okay.
done.
Done. All right.
Daddy Dailies is presented by Not Your Daddy's Films, a social impact organization dedicated to educating and empowering women and non-binary creatives in TV and film. If you like what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a positive review. And if you want more Daddy episode insights and links to what we talked about, join us on Patreon.com/NYD Films. Daddy Dailies is produced in partnership with Robert Bailey and edited by Carly Tamarin, Vika Stubblebine, Claudia Restrepo, and Gracie Strauss. See you next time, Daddy.